distributor that was starting to do a roll-up. And he was a contemporary of mine. We grew up in the industry together, or started out in the industry together. And I think we got extra value because it was more of an emotional thing for him. He really wanted our company. And so there wasn't a lot of price negotiation on that. He felt that I was being fair because we knew each other, and I wasn't being out of my mind as far as asking price, and so that worked out pretty well. I think if I tried to sell it to somebody else, there would have been more negotiation, and probably would have had to give in a little bit. For us, it was a real, like I said, first we tried to buy stuff and roll up, and then because of all the consolidation within the industry, you needed to be bigger in order to be more important to our customers, and that didn't work, so I went the other way. I got all cash. This was December of '07, and and I didn't do anything with it. I just put it away, and God, that wasn't any stroke of genius on our part. We just couldn't figure out what to do with it, and so I had a consulting agreement with them for a year. I did a lot of travel in the first part of in the first 6 months, and then it started to wind down, and once I got them trained and so forth. The way I went through it was that I knew what my number was going to be after all was said and done, as far as taxes and everything else. I said, this is what I want to get out of this whole deal. And in order for me to move forward or do a life transition of my own. And it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have sold it if we couldn't get there. And I put a big fudge factor in there as well, because I knew that the twice as much, twice as long thing was going to take over. There were things that snuck up on me, and we'll get into that. But my accountant helped me with that, and my accountant really helped me as far as valuation goes and what the return was going to be. I'm just not fluent in that kind of stuff. The hardest part was letting employees go. I had a lot of older employees. I just felt, they'd been with me for 10 years or so. Their work ethic was it seemed to be always better, and they were more responsible. We had a very good staff. But letting them go, set them out into the marketplace too, and I knew that it was going to be tough for them to, find other employment. Things that ate up profits. I leased my building, and we were 2 years into a 5-year lease. So I needed to, I needed to find somebody to sublease it to, and which we did, fortunately. But based on the marketplace, you don't know, and that's something I factored that into my return. I said, if I got to carry this building for 3 years, that's got to be part of it. And so we, fortunately, we filled it up. But and now also I've got to manage that sublease and those tenants and so forth. And it's a triple net, so we're going after them for taxes. They've got to help pay the taxes and all that kind of stuff, and you have to do all that. Obviously, paying severance to the employees. I felt that we did a fair job. And it's hard to. It's an emotional situation for everybody. And,
but you also had to keep them there for
right.
Almost 6 months.
Right. So we kind of they kind of knew something was up. They knew I was like looking around to buy and somebody was nosing around, and then finally when I let them know, it was a 3-month warning, and we hung severance out as far as helping us get through the transition. And then we gave them the severance.
And you didn't pay the severance until after
exactly.
you were done?
Yeah, until we were done. And it gave them enough time to look for jobs and all that kind of stuff. The other thing that the issue that we had was we had our own proprietary computer system. It was not that we built it, but it was something that, it's not like QuickBooks or anything like that. And what happened was that it wasn't easy to transform it into a spreadsheet, and everybody can upload Excel. We had to have it all converted, and that cost about $27,000 to do that, because we had all the sales data and all this, you know, it was an umbrella type software, and that I didn't factor in, and so I got tripped up on that one. As far as negotiating goes, it was me and versus a conference room. You know, they'd have the phone in the middle of the thing, and you know, they'd be good cop, bad cop, and all that kind of stuff. I will say that I had a very good attorney who does M&A for small businesses and in larger businesses as well. I had to call on them a lot in order to have reality checks and everything, because what happens is it's an emotional thing for you as the seller, and you get to this point of no return where you're no matter what, or you can fall in the trap of, all right, we've got to get this done. We're almost to the goal line, and that's when things start getting chipped away, and you're willing to give concessions in order to make it work. And that's when you need to sit your attorney and put the attorneys together and step back and let them do the hard work, because there were certain things that, you know, that again we didn't think of as far as the asset list goes, and that had to be renegotiated. And now I'm looking to buy, and just as I worked for a year, then I took a year off. I've spent time with my 13-year-old son, who's going to be going away to school. I've developed some products. We've got a couple of patents going on, a couple of products that were always in the back of our mind. You know, and you always see everybody's got one of those. You know what I always wanted to come up with. So we've done that, and I'm out trying to license those patents at this point. But as was mentioned earlier, I want to get back into the buy side. I want to get back into business for a couple of reasons. One is I believe that leadership is a skill that you learn, and it's a skill that you need to hone and keep and practice and so forth. And I miss it. Secondly is that just as you said before, Andy, I can't think of a better investment than myself in buying a company and having me control my own destiny. You know, the equities markets are going back and forth, and you don't know what's going on. You know, one day they tell you to buy gold, the next day they tell you to sell gold. And so I believe that if I'm involved in it and I can control that and find something that I'm passionate about and building a company that I enjoy working on, that I'll get the ROI that I'm looking for, and you get the income, and you get the juice at the end too. I worked on a deal for the last 9 months. I was looking at a defense contracting business. Those are they can be very profitable. It's the $300 toilet seat thing, and we're negotiating. The guy has a nice niche, and we're getting close. We had given him a number. He'd come back. We were working on it. He was going to go for financing. I had already worked with the SBA. I had already worked with Webster Bank. We had gotten approved for the loans. Everything was in place basically. Just real quick on loans. I don't think anybody here can take out a loan without putting your house up. You know, all the banks are going to ask for that, and the best thing you can do is protect yourself by having your lawyer, put in your wife's name and get it as far away from their reach as possible. So anyway, that deal fell through in just about 3 weeks ago because his business was off 80% since April. And what he wasn't aware of was there was changing in the buying strategy within the military. And in as much as he was going out and he's calling on the different bases and stuff like that, he wasn't aware that they had shifted over and they were centralizing buying, and then they were farming it out to fewer and fewer companies, which is the same thing as in the consolidation that we were running into. And it turns out that the company that they farmed it out to became a competitor, and we started buying less and less stuff from him. And I said, well, isn't there anything you can go into? Is there another niche? Is there another product line that you can do? And he said, no, we